Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's Redshift session. This is about discovering, monitoring, and protecting your network perimeter. My name's Billy McDermott. I'm the product director and Hardenise lead at Redshift. And over the next half hour, I'm going to take you through how the Redshift, the Hardenise product by Redshift, can help you with those goals. Today, we are going to talk about, first of all, where are the risks in your estate and why do they exist? Then we're going to talk about how you can discover the blind spots in your estates in seconds, actually, rather than minutes. And then we'll finish off by taking some time out to tell you how you can take some actionable steps to improve your security posture. And you'll be pleased to know that there is some live demonstrations within today's sessions, so you will get to see Hardenise by Redshift in action. I'm going to start off by just talking about where the risks are. Change is constant within technology. Operations are more distributed than ever. There are too many aspects to actually take into account, and modern networking and security have become so complicated that it's become very difficult to manage it all satisfactorily. Security decisions are often left without any coherent strategy as a result, and there is never enough time to do a good enough job. And that's if you can find the security experts that you need in the first place. There are too many acronyms. Documentation is poor and wrong. By the time you actually understand it, it's changed already. Everyone struggles to keep up with the standards that are necessary. We are here to help that. The additional vector now is the rapid adoption of cloud deployments. This has created a new problem. Gaining complete visibility of your network and application attack surface is almost impossible. When I started in IT a long time ago, I used to see my server sitting there. I knew where my switches were, I knew where my routers were, I knew where my hardware was, I knew where it was located and how to configure it. It was predictable. It was easy to understand. But cloud technology now means that teams no longer have complete visibility into where their infrastructure actually resides. There is rarely an inventory of assets. And even if there is one, it's very difficult to keep it up to date. People are relying on multiple different sources of information. What's in your cloud accounts? What's in your certificate authority accounts? What's in your DNS accounts? And what's in your registrar account? So knowing what's running and where it's running and how the services are actually configured is a changing feast. That leads to a lack of oversight. Misconfiguration is rife. Outages are frequent. And it means that there's unknown security exposures. Infrastructure and applications are often exploited. Development costs increase because systems are not deployed securely in the first place, leading to an increase in technical debt because you have to go back and fix poorly deployed system. This level of poor security erodes customers' faith. It creates damaged reputations. It leads to regulatory and compliance issues, increased insurance costs, reduced insurance scopes, and lost business as well. It's becoming a bigger problem as well. The cloud market is projected to be worth $376.36 billion by 2029. Cloud solutions are more popular than ever because of distributed workforces. These solutions are brilliant because they help teams that aren't located in one place to stay connected. But they are becoming more and more problematic because empowered teams are able to do things without IT or without security being aware of it. That means that 45% of breaches are actually cloud-based. And it also means that 97% of cloud apps can actually be categorized as shadow IT. Most applications and services are brought in and deployed without security actually knowing about it. Security teams simply don't have the tools or the resources to get their arms around the problem. And this isn't about blame. This is about a problem becoming so big that it's becoming harder to contain. And the final reason at the moment is this heavy reliance that we all have on third and fourth party vendors. You simply, even though we go through rigorous security assessments to onboard vendors, we know as a security business how difficult it is to take on new vendors. They still may lack the necessary cybersecurity controls. Do you really know how your vendors are actually configuring the services that are being deployed on your behalf? Here at Redsift, we do think you deserve better and you deserve a way to actually solve this problem. We believe that you should have a complete inventory of all your organizational assets, a single pane glass view into your estate that's easy to implement and is a source of truth that's authoritative and kept up to date automatically and continuously. It should give you full monitoring of your network inside and out. The results of that monitoring, the analysis, it should be real time, it should be insightful, and it should be trustworthy. When someone looks at an issue, they should be able to understand what it is and know what the first steps are to trying to resolve the issue. And it should be built for DevOps and DevSecOps first. You should have the choice of accessing the tooling and accessing the information either through a user interface or through the API. So today I'm going to walk you through that process. I'm going to walk you through Hardenize by Redsift. I'm going to tell you how within seconds you can actually gain visibility of your public facing assets. And then I'm going to show you how, using the tool, you can narrow down on those priorities and what the focus on what's important to you and what's important to your organization. And this is the fun bit. This is the demonstration. At a glance, using Hardenize, we give you complete visibility of the domains that belong to you, the hosts that belong to you, the certificates that belong to you, and the IP addresses that belong to you. That asset inventory of your public-facing infrastructure is updated continuously and automatically. You don't need to add new hosts. We will find them for you. You don't have to add new certificates. We will find them in as close to real time as is possible for you. And you don't have to add any new IP addresses that you're using, because we will identify those for you as well. How quick is that discovery process is a question that we're actually often asked. It actually takes seconds. I can demonstrate that for you today. So I'm going to take a list of domains and I'm going to add them to Harmonize. But you actually don't need to know all of the domains that belong to you to get started in Harmonize. We can actually just start with one, because our discovery tool also has the capability to find all of the domains that belong to you too. You click Next, and we then use our proprietary discovery method to find all of the hosts and to find all of the certificates that actually belong to you. And you click Next, it finds and shows you the host names that we've discovered so far. And when you complete, we give you a complete overview of those discovery results. As soon as we find a new asset that actually belongs to you, we begin an appropriate assessment of that asset. When it comes to domains, we do a check on the domain security itself. For example, if a domain is on a TLD that supports locks, but you don't have appropriate locks in place, we would tell you about that. You can use the domain report to identify any domains that could be coming up for an expiration, but haven't yet been renewed either. Security, internet-facing asset security, begins with secure domains. And Redshift customers use the domain report as their single source of truth for their domain inventory. We can connect to your certificate authorities. We can connect to more than one of your certificate authorities and import your domains on a daily basis, meaning that when distributed teams are creating domains without telling the security team, Harmonize will automatically import them in. The vast majority of our discovery is organic. Our proprietary methods check our host database, which is updated in real time for assets that belong to you and certificates that belong to you. But you can also connect Harmonize not just to your registrars and to your certificate authorities, but you can connect to your cloud providers as well. You can connect to your DNS providers. And again, we will import domain names, and from those sources, we'll also import DNS zones on a daily basis. For each domain, we will build an inventory of all the subdomains and all the certificates that we can identify. Any new subdomains and certificates will automatically be added to your Harmonize inventory. And at a glance, you can see all of the hosts that we've actually found. The assessment of those hosts begins immediately, and we use a very simple red, amber, green system to identify any security configuration warnings or configuration errors that we think require your attention. We begin at DNS, then we check for DNSSEC, and then we check the key standards required for email security configuration, and we check the key standards required for your internet security configuration. These assessments are repeated automatically every 24 hours. This means that you and your team no longer have to carry out a manual assessment against any host that you wish to deploy. And as I mentioned, It's not just built through the user interface. This information is all accessible through the Harmonize API. So the results of the host assessment can be imported and consumed within your own environment. For each domain, we also identify all of the certificates and we add those to your certificate inventory. When a certificate is issued, we will automatically add it to the inventory so that you have a full up-to-date list of all the certificates that belong to you. But importantly, we also add third-party certificates that we find deployed on your hosts to inventory because your services will depend on those. We check the certificate for appropriate issuance. We send you an email about a certificate that is issued, and if there's any problems with that certificate, we will escalate it to you as well. And as soon as we find and begin to monitor that certificate, we also seamlessly begin to monitor the expiry date. If a certificate is due for renewal and it still hasn't been rotated or revoked 14 days before the renewal date, then we will send you an email notification to tell you about that certificate. If it gets to 4 days before, we start to get a little bit naggy and we'll send you a daily notification. And of course, those notifications can be customized to your own service levels. And also those notifications can be sent only to the people in your organization who care about those assets. You may have a PKI team who's responsible for certificates. Or you may know which part of the business is responsible for a particular group of certificates. Those people within those teams can receive the email notifications about certificates so that they can take the appropriate action to resolve them. Additionally, when we find a host, we will resolve the IP address and we will begin a network scan of that host, that IP address. We'll run a port scan against the top 1000 UDP and the top 1000 TCP ports. And again, that's repeated automatically at least every 24 hours. Just another job that you don't need a person to do anymore. Your security teams can focus on the findings instead of having to actually run the tools. Now, just to wrap up the demo section, I'm going to focus on how you can get some actionable insight, how you can really drill down and identify problems within the monitored estate. As I said, these host assessments will update in real time. Update every 24 hours, but you can check the analysis in real time and you can repeat an assessment on demand if you wish. The standards that we check are comprehensive, and you can get to the most serious configuration errors simply by using the filter, picking errors, and that shows all the hosts that have got a red warning against them. You can then click through to see the results of the assessment. So if I look at this QA domain that we have, I can see here the domain registration, that's all good, but there are warnings in the DNS zone. Our DNS checks are extensive. We run a full check of the name server names, the name server addresses, and show you what we find. We do an in-detail analysis of your SOA record. And that's what the configuration warning is here. Here is an inconsistent SOAR record. This ties back into what I mentioned earlier. We want to help people understand what the configuration problem is and signpost you towards a solution. We don't just show an error. We actually give you an explanation of what is going on. And in some cases, even if there isn't a configuration warning or a configuration error, we will give you a power-up. We will give you a recommendation, something that perhaps you can improve on, something that perhaps you want to build in to your security roadmap, something that can actually be done later. Now, how does this help? This helps security teams, it helps engineering teams to find the problems that they care about. But Hardenise works as a strategic tool and not just an operational tool. Think about Hardenise as an auditor for your network perimeter. We show you everything that we see, and you can be assured that it's as up to date as any tool can actually be. You can have complete trust in the solution. You can believe the results that you actually see in Hardenise. Because we're not using cache data, we're using our own data. We're doing all the hard work in the background for you and repeating the assessments at least every 24 hours. This can help you in a number of different ways. It can help you with compliance, with different regulatory standards, with different frameworks. It can help you with insurance coverage. It can help reduce the cost of your insurance. But it can also help you increase the coverage of your insurance. If you can show to your auditors, if you can show your insurance company that you're resolving issues as they happen, rather than reacting to a report that comes through from a ratings company, then that's incredibly powerful. It gives you control, and it means that you can defend your position because you've got data that's up to date. You've got data that's as fresh as it possibly can be. So I'd just like to recap what I covered there in the Hardenise demonstration. We spoke about our discovery methods, how from just a small number of domains, we can find all of the hosts, all of the certificates, and all of the IP addresses that belong to you. We give you an at-a-glance insight into your estate that's kept up to date automatically and continuously. We assess your domain posture and show you what we see. We assess the domain, email, and web security configuration of all the hosts that we find. We build your certificate inventory and tell you about any problems that we see. And we scan more than 2,000 ports on the IP addresses that we're able to resolve automatically every single day without any human interaction required. Just going to move back to our slides. So Hardenise is part of the Redshift platform. We sit alongside our suite of continuous threat exposure management tools, including on-domain, on-inbox, and on-DMARC. Sits within platform. We've got a unified user model So you can access all Redshift products from within the Redshift platform. Trusted by the big names across media, legal, retail, healthcare, biotech. Got a number of government customers, technology customers, telecommunications, and financials. So whether you're a startup or whether you're one of the biggest enterprises in the world, the Redshift platform can support you. Just to finish off, I want to introduce as well our customer community. We're in the soft launch phase of this. If you'd like to sign up, then please go to community.redshift.com. You can log in with your existing Redshift credentials, or if you've not signed up to Redshift already, go to redshift.com, create an account, and then you can go to the community page and sign up. So going to be lots of great content. We're at an early soft launch. There's going to be great content in there about all products within the Redshift suite, including Hardenise. And please do, if you've got any follow-up questions about Hardenise or what we do, please do feel free to ask questions in the community about it. I'd like to thank you all very much for your time. You can say hello to me on LinkedIn. Easy to find there. I'm pretty recognizable. And if you are interested in talking to us more, please go to redshift.com/free assessment to book in a free cyber risk assessment. We'd be delighted to help. If anyone has any questions at this time, for the remaining couple of minutes, there is a question and answer section within Zoom. Please do answer anything that I've not been able to, or if you'd prefer, as I said, do get in touch via the community or get in touch via LinkedIn, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you do have. So one question that we have is more about the proprietary methods and how we actually find all of the hosts and all of the certificates that belong to our customers. That's a really, really good question. And it's one of the unique things that actually make us different at Hardenise. We don't rely on cache data, and we don't scan the entire internet for our customers. We scan what our customers ask us to, which is how we can give them a comprehensive real-time inventory of their public-facing assets, whilst also monitoring those assets at the same time. We build inventory by monitoring certificate transparency logs and by monitoring real-time internet traffic. Anything that we find in CT logs, anything that we find within real-time internet traffic is added to our own database. And if we match that up to the domains that you actually own, we will add it to your inventory. And as I mentioned, that discovery is real-time. So as soon as a certificate is found, then we will add it to your inventory. As soon as a host is found, we will add it to your inventory. Got another question. How do you handle host names that are decommissioned? For example, a host name that no longer points to an active server. Hey, that's a really good point, because one of the things that we want to do in Hardenise is take care of the noise. We don't want to be monitoring assets that are old. We don't want to be monitoring assets that no longer have any services that belong to them. So there's two things that we do there. We will check if there are actually any services still on that host. We will also check whether the host still exists. If we don't see anything, if that host has no services, then we'll begin monitoring it. We'll stop monitoring it and archive it until we do start seeing services on it again. One other really cool thing we do there as well, as part of our DNS inspection, the host name itself might still be active, and there may still be some services associated with it. But some of the third-party services may no longer be in use. Just going back and talking about those distributed teams for a second. Think about marketing teams, finance teams, operations teams, buying software, deploying software, that shadow IT problem. You don't know what they're configuring within DNS. So if a third-party service no longer works, we will tell you about that in our DNS check as well. We call that a dangling DNS check. I'd say we call that, everyone calls that a dangling DNS check. But it's not, just another example of the depth of the assessment that we actually do. Thank you everyone for joining. We're very grateful for your time. As I mentioned, if you'd like to know more, go to redsif.com/free-assessment, and we would be delighted to help. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.